rackets like this, made of wood. They use sticks like golf or tennis. It will become a rich man's sport. So he said, no, I don't want it to be a rich man's sport. I want it to be a sport played by everybody internationally. It's amazing how we can enjoy this sport looking back more than 100 years from this humble preacher, sports chaplain, somebody that God gave the idea, endowed with the idea to be able to invent basketball.
So, first of all, I would like to welcome everyone to the first ever Basketball Baliktanaw. So, ito po yung pinakaunang basketball history and culture summit na ginanap po dito sa Pilipinas. So, as a basketball fan, so I was looking for something wherein basketball fans can come together and then celebrate the rich history and culture of Philippine basketball. So I was thinking, kung wala pa akong na-experience na gano'n, so why don't we come up with something so that we can offer something to the basketball-loving public. Thank you very much, and let's enjoy the rest of the
library. We collect 30,000 volumes of wearable Rick. I realize that we also have a very good basketball collection. So I invite all of you to come. Our library is free for anybody who wishes to just do research. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
Let's hear some few words from the president of Bayanihan Collectors Club, Mr. Melvin La.
Thank you everyone, but kung may mga programs talaga, support kami to engage with the youth people to not forget about the Philippine history. So thank you din also kay Doc Nisita for letting us display some of our display there. So para makita nyo ito later in mga collection. Okay, thank you and have a great day.
Introduce our speaker for this inspirational message.
Let's welcome Mr. Virgilio Gil Cortez.
It's my deepest honor to be doing the inspirational message for this unprecedented event. History is important. Basketball Baliktanaw teaches our basketball leaders a lesson on valuing history. Moving forward, we hope that more groups like Basketball, Page Sport Bureau, the Philippine Basketball Diaries, and an eternity of basketball would spring from everywhere and provide us with opportunities to learn from the past to build a better future. Thank you for you spending your time, energy, and resources for such noble undertakings. Palakpakan po natin lahat ng natin.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, Seth Sarmenta.
Why was it basketball and not other sports like football, which is clearly followed by larger numbers around the world? Well, Albano's book, When We Were Champions, explains how our triumphs in the Far Eastern Games, the 5th place finish in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, and the bronze medal win in the World Cup in Rio de Janeiro fueled our collective imagination and arguably made us believe that we were the best basketball players in this part of the world. Later on, television would take over, and the players who were once only visualized and imagined on print and radio were now on screen. And then, years later, the PBA would come along as Asia's first professional league. The stars of the college years were now pros and forged new rivalries like Crispa and Toyota to fuel the passion even further. Others, like Doc Rico Messina, collect memorabilia. Others, like Jay Mercado, become hoop historians. This is all part of the passion we share. I saw Bill Velasco here earlier, and he has a good way of putting this. Our love for basketball is unrequited love, as there have been many international frustrations over the years. But no matter, the romance and the love live on. Salamat po.
Let's call in our next lecturer, Sir Michael Charleston Xiao Chua.
How do we get meaning from basketball? Yung bola na yan, hindi lang yan bola. Part yan ng kwento kung bakit tayo na nagkaganito sa bayan ito. If Dr. Messina will tell me the story of that medal, yan pala yun. Jackpot. And then it gets value, bayanihan, eto na, naka-value na. Yun yung kapangyarihan na memorabilia. And those conversations are important because it gets us to who we are. If you're going to look at the basketball player, yung mga basketballista natin, bawat isa ay bagani. Bagani sila ng kanilang bayan. Ano yung bayan nila? Yung pupunan. So, concept of ginhawa, kapwa, pero may hindi pa ako nababanggit. Now, napakahalaga. At ito yung konsepto ng bayanihan. Bayanihan did not come from the word bayan. It came from the word. Sana kumalat yung idea na basketball is actually kapwa culture. Pag kumalat yan, baka madagdagan yung mindset ng Pilipinas. But for understanding, for bridge making and friendship. Maraming po salamat at mabuhay tayo.
Also a book author, let's call in Professor Jose Maria Bonifacio Escoda.
Ang basketball nagsimula yan ng mga Amerikanong soldiers sa Intramuros, ngayon ay pamantasan ng lungsod. Pero yung unang liga, National Interscholastic, wala ang mga lalaking basketball doon, babae.
Our speaker for today, I can call him the Bobby Knight of Philippine basketball, Coach Joe Lipa!
First of all, it's a big honor for me to be with you today, at this day, and share with you my experiences in basketball. You know, sabi nga nila, great things happen by accident. And being a coach, my being a coach happened by accident. I never dreamed of being a coach. I was not just in UP, following out the registration of my athletic director namin, saw me and told Coach Joe, walang coach ang UP ngayon. Pwedeng mawakan. You know how I said, maraming salamat sa offer. Pero alam mo, yung basketball na alam ko, 19 ko mo. Okay? Mapapaya lang tayo sa mga coaches. Hindi doon, kunin mo. Hindi, sabi ko, may kakausapin ako, teammate ko dati, okay? Na ngayon, is very active in basketball. Siguro, iba sa inyo, hindi na inabot yun, but most of you, sila Jimmy, yung age group nyo, inabot yun, Port Acuña. Okay? He was my teammate in the UP varsity team, and I talked with him. Port, pwede bang walang coach sa UP? Pwede mo ba hawakan? Sabi sa akin, sige John, hawakan ko UP on one condition. May condition nila para sa master engineering yun para makapag-master sa UP. Balik ako sa UP. But ayos na, okay na si Port. Okay na, we prepared everything. And then the tragic and sad incident happened. He committed suicide. Okay. Dinalungkot ako. Balilakan ako ng athletic director. Tol, pwede mo nakawakan. Tol, meron pa tayong isang active sa basketball. Kakusapin ko, si Orly de los Santos. Timid ko rin, sabi sa akin, Tol, nalaklampot siya, pinagbigyan na kita Pagbigyan mo na kayo, hawakan mo na. Sabi ko, Tol, pahirapan mo ako Isang kondisyon na 1 year ko ang hawakan ng Tol hanggang makahanap na tayo ng bagong coach. Okay? Ito na, nagpapisa na UAP. 6 na team lang doon sa UAP noon So, 11 laro. Doon sa 11 laro na yun, isa panalo ko, tsamba pa. Sabi ko, kawawa naman ako, nabubiyata ako, and I don't try to exit my coaching career as a loser. Binalik ako yung coach, yung athletic director. Coach, sa kami kasi isang taon lang pinagbigyan kita. Pero ngayon, bugbog sarado naman ako. Ako naman nakaharap ko sa iyo. Pwede ba? Give me 1 more year. Kaya sabi sa akin, hawakan mo yan para makabawi ka. And in 1982 and 1983, we figured in the championship. Kasama na, kalaban namin nun sila Jimmy. And hindi pa siguro mo hinawin UP noon. We lost in 2 years. Okay? 82, 83, 84, palagi kumalit sa semi-finals or finals. Pero talunan pa rin na nagtrampulis na. Until 1986.
Yes.
By strong of faith, I met Benji Maras. Whom I understood with you a while ago. And he was there playing for Zambeda, and I talked with him. Sabi ko doon, Benji, can you play for UP? Do you like to play for UP? But there are only two things that we can offer you. One, you will be getting education, if not the best university, one of the best universities in the Philippines. Second, it is my commitment that within my limited capacity as a coach, I will do everything to make you, even for a moment, the best center in the land. Pumayag na si Benji Sikip. Nagulat ako, sabi ko, wala malabo to. Sabi ko, wala ka ba yung officer? Si Benji, yung pinagagawa ng eskwelahan eh. Sabi ko, malabo to, bata to. Hindi ko makukuha to. And then, the following day, pagdating ko sa practice, nagulat ako, dito si Benji. Lahat kami na siya kayo. Okay. Pero hindi ko pinalata siya. Sabi ko, okay, boy. Benji, thank you for joining us. Thank you for playing for you. Benji, I like you. First thing gagawin natin, makuha naman tayo around the gym. I like you to run around the gym 10 times. Tumatakbo si Benji. Coach, sabi sa akin ng doktor ko, bawal daw sa akin dito. Tumakbo na ganito matagal. Benji, may doktor ka. Dito, ako ang albularyo mo. Para siya, bumalik sa akin, Coach, sabi ng lola ko, bawal daw sa akin tumakbo na ganito matagal. Okay, dito ako ang lolo mo. Okay? The rest is history. Okay? We won that championship, okay? And Benji played a very important role in that championship. And nakapag-deliver na ako sa UP. And then balik ko sa UP, there was a celebration. And then, you know, noong 1982, 81, 82, 83, talunan ako. Yung mga mayayaman sa UP. Influence mo talagang pera, influential sa UP dahil may mga pera. Okay, kinausap yung presidente ng UP naman na si late Senator Angara. Alam ko na ako eh. Sipahin mo na si Joe, pinabili na ng sungaya, pinagpits natin eh. Teka, natago ko ni President Angara. Natila ko doon, Brad, pinatawag ko raw ako. I know, Brad, ba't mo ako pinatatawag? A lot of people are after my neck. I'm ready to resign, Brad. Alam mo kung ano sabi sa akin ni Senator Angara? Joe, hindi kita pinatawag para doon. Ibig ko malaman kung kaya mo o hindi. Lumabas ang yaman ko. Hindi ko kukunin trabaho na kung hindi ko kaya. Okay? Mayamang na ako nun eh. The rest is history. Nanalo UP. But why did I mention this episode in my life? Dahil mo, not everything will be given to you in a silver platter. Sabi nga lang, yung mas mahirap kunin. Okay? And one of the philosophies in life that you could give a friend or anybody that you love is never quit. Give it your best, but never quit. Rest when you are weary and tired, but never quit. Okay? Be a dreamer always. Okay? Because the moment you stop fighting and the moment you stop dreaming, then that's the end of your life. Work for everybody, but also work for yourself. These are simple, you go all there. Malapit ka na pinatapos sa itaas. Okay? Spend more time prayer. It's your continuous relation with God that will keep you going. Eh, sabi sa akin ng ibang tao, Joe, ilang taon ka na ba? Sabi sa akin, pare, hulaan mo. Pag nagkamali ng pag nagbata ang hula, mababa sa edad ko, pare, binukuha mo naman ako. Okay? Pag tama ang galing mo, pare, paano nakachamba ka? Ba't mo tinatanong? Coach, kasi malakas ka pa. Malakas ka pa tignan. You know bakit malakas pa akong tignan? It's because I exercise a lot, which is very important for everybody. Ngayon, sabi naman nila, ang tanda mo na, Joe, hindi ka pa kinukuha ng God. Dalawa lang yan. Dalawa lang yan. Either meron pa siyang ibig pagawa sa akin. Okay? That's on the positive side. But on the more realistic side is, Joe, napakarami kasalanan ng ginawa mo sa buhay. Pagsising ako na. On that note, I had a story of my life. Marami pong salamat sa inyo.
Thank you very much. Ako yung nag-start ng maglaro ng basketball at the age of 1960. Tryout po ako sa UE. Kinuha ko ni Baby Dalupan. Naglaro po ako ng 4 na taon. After 4 na taon, swerte naman siya. Swerte po ako dahil si Baby Dalupan nagpupunta sa Crispa at that time. So, nirecruit niya ako sa Crispa, sa komersyal. So, naglaro po ako ng 2 years sa Crispa, 60, 64. Naglaro ako 2 years sa Crispa, 66. Pero pag nag-66, naselect po ako agad sa national team, Asian Games. After that, napasama po ako doon kay Kaloy Loizaga na Magnificent 12 against Korea. That was 1967. Nag-champion po tayo sa Asia. After that, 1968, I was also selected in the Olympics. In that Olympics, we landed 16th place. Mataas na po yun sa Asian. Mataas na yun sa Asian Champions. Ganda po experience ko dyan. Nakakalaban ko po si George Foreman. Nasabihin niyo ako ng sports. Bilyar. Bilyar. Hindi ko pa siya kilala naman. Nakita ko, nakarinta ako. Alam ko ng bilyar. Lumaban sa akin. George Foreman. Hindi ko na alam. In 1969, member pa rin ako ng national team. Asian tournament. 1970, I was na-drop ako ng national team by accusing me as a no-guts player. No-gut player. So, hindi po ako nakapaglaro ng national team. And then, after that year, 1971, hindi ko na po matanda yung 1971, but 1972, that is another Olympic tournament. Nagkaroon po ako na experience naman sa sa Olympics. Doon po nagkaroon ng gulo. Dahil pinasok ng Palestinian ang Olympic Village. Pintay lahat ang weightlifters ng Israel. Ang pinakasikat na player noon, si Mark Spitz, swimming. Yun po ang aking experience sa dalawang Olympics na pinaglaro. Yun lang po. Wala na po.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'd like to say thank you to Messina for inviting us here at this wonderful event that we're having. And following up, mga coaches ko, mga former coaches ko, Coach Jim, so proud na I've been handled by them. So, let me talk about when I started coaching the women's side of basketball. It was in 1998. I was still playing as a player for Blue Detergent. and my boss, John Pa, and boss Giseldo C. At that time, Coach Yang Yao was the commissioner of the PBL before. He was the one who probably the first WPBL, the Women's Philippine Basketball League, was formed, and I was tasked to coach the Ever Belena group or the Blue Detergent group. Every team before the PBL has to form a women's team. So at the time, the first drafting, there were so many girls that really wanted to play the women's side of basketball. So eventually, to make the long story short, we became champions. Actually, back-to-back champions pa. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit ako natungo sa women's basketball. Maybe that's the inkling or the sign that I've been coaching women's basketball. So after that, Boss Jun again decided to go to another venue, which is the youth program. I think we again started the youth program for women's basketball in 2009. So in 2009, we formed the group, the Gilas Pilipinas, actually Burlas ng Pilipinas before. It was in 2009 that we went to India. It's the first time that I think also the youth program of FIBA was being held. So we were there, and we were up against China, the big countries, China, Korea, Chinese Taipei. But eventually they were formed, nanalo rin kami sa Malaysia. So it was a good experience for the girls, and all those girls that I had was, had a good good performance in the UAAP itself, mga bata. So after those years, kwento ko lang a little bit of why I was chosen to be the head coach of Gilas was in 2011 or 2012. 11, sorry. Nakakalimutan rin coach. Tanda na rin. So I was named the head coach of the National University, Lady Bulldogs. I know now, and if you go read the history of women's basketball, yung NU laging talo. At that time, sabi ko sa boss ko, it was Giseldo, boss, ayoko dyan, hindi ko kaya. Baka lalo lang tayo malubog, tayo palagi. But eventually, with all their support, and siguro yung tulong ng mga coach like Coach Choi Kodu, also a player Coach Joe as my assistant, nagawa namin ng miracle, sabi nga ni Coach. So we became champions for 6 straight years with a record of 96-0. So I'm saying, nakakatuwa dahil we just did not win, but we elevated the women's basketball itself. So in 2015, when I was still coaching NU, Boss Giseldo again asked me if we want to coach the Ferguson Philippines, which is the senior team. And I applied, and yun, doon na nag-umpisa yun siguro. Where in 2015, the first time for the international tournament was in FIBA Asia Cup in China. There's to explain furthermore the levels of yung FIBA Asia. Sa men's marami, merong mga windows. Dito sa women's, dalawang group yan. May level A at saka level B. We were in level B. Those top winners of level B would be going to level A. Those who pinaka-dulo ng level A would go down again to level B. So in 2015, I was fortunate to bring the national team to level A. So we beat India. So from 2000, the next role of ng FIBA Asia Cup, it was in 2017. We were in India. Again, nandun pa rin tayo sa level A. Until now, we're still in level A. So thank God, sa level A pa rin tayo. Actually, the best finish that we had was in 2023. We placed 6th in Asia. So, nanalo tayo against Chinese Taipei. And may kwento nga eh. Actually, we lost to New Zealand by 4 points. So, New Zealand went to the pre-qualifying tournament. Pre-qualifying tournament for the Olympics. But they lost by 2 points in the tournament. So, sabi namin, sayang. We should have been there. So, medyo motivated yung mga girls to get back again and maybe, makapunta na tayo sa mga pre-qualifying tournaments like we did last year also. The first time in history again, the Gilas Pilipinas played the pre-qualifying tournament for the World Cup in Rwanda. So we played against Brazil, Hungary, at saka Senegal. First time tayo hindi lang puro Asian countries na kalaban natin. So mga Europe, America, at saka Africa. Again, konti na lang. We almost beat Brazil, which is the number 6 in the world. Sayang. So, hopefully, everything falls into places. Lahat ng makukuha nating mga players, lahat ng mga gustong maglaro for the team would be here and represent the country. So, I think more would be Coach Julie's turn, yung mga side. So, I hope that this coming July, July 13 to 20, we'll be having our FIBA Asia Cup in Shenzhen, China. And hopefully to have all your support and prayers. And also, this coming December, the Southeast Asian Games. Sana makuulit natin yung goal. Thank you, Coach.
Coach Julie Amos, the head coach of Gilas Pilipinas Women Under-18.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody. Hi, coaches. I just want to share to you how I started into basketball. I was a player before in USD, and I also played national team youth. And then followed it up with UAAP College and then women's program. So it was really a long journey for me, not just playing for collegiate, but also for the national program. So when I started coaching into basketball, I was offered in USD, and then nung natapos na yun, punta ako ng NU. So that's where nagkaroon kami ng connection with Coach Pat. Before I went to coaching, I played with Coach Pat sa Ever Bilena. So that was the journey that we had. We started 1998. So tapos na ako sa college, tapos nagkaroon ng Ever Bilena na team. So nag-tryout ako doon. Yun ang start ng aming journey. And because of that, my thinking before, I think I have a calling also to share what I have experienced during my youth days and then women's program. So nung naging successful yung Ever Bilena, then again, follow-up lang with Coach, with Boss Luceldo, we took up, kinuha natin yung high school youth program until sa women's program. So what I'm telling you right now, lahat lang ng mga tinuturo ko or tinuturo namin, ina-apply namin for the youth program, mostly it's because of my experience during when I was playing. So luckily, after the pandemic, which is 2022, doon na nagkaroon ng, kasi before when I was playing, ilan lang yung mga tournaments namin because of, again, mas kilala yung basketball men on the women's side or the youth program side or girls side, not much. Tama yung sinabi ni Coach Pat before, sasali lang kami, pero we never competed. Kasi ang layo ng program ng Philippines before. It's because, I think, because of the preparation itself. Every SEA Games that I played, palit ng coach. So I think the difference right now, it's a longer program which is built by SBP. Kaya we were able to build relationships together with the players ng youth hanggang sa women's program. And yung relationship na nabibuild namin from young ones and the women's program, nurture, encouraging more young girls to continue basketball, hindi lang volleyball. And I hope also na i-inspire namin sila through their ates to continue and to help the basketball program for the Philippines. So we hope na this upcoming tournaments, lahat na po ng mga 16 under and 18 under women's program are already in the Division A, meaning we are trying to sustain that, we're trying to elevate the women's program with the help of the media, of course, and SBP as well. So thank you very much for this wonderful invitation.
Good afternoon sa inyong lahat. My pleasure to be here. Forever assistant coach ng Gilas. So I will talk about my journey. This is as assistant coach. Of the 5 Gilas head coaches na head coach ng Pilipinas, I was privileged to be part of those 3 coaches. One of the most fascinating things about being part of the Gilas since 2013, 11 years, 2025, 13, 12 years na ako. In and out, 12 years na ako dito sa Gilas Pilipinas, is experiencing how different coaches have shaped the team. Hindi lang sa kanilang style, pati yung identity na binibigay nila sa team. Yung personalidad nila ay nakakapag-identify yung team sa kanila. So that is very interesting. Iba-iba yung naranasan ko na head coaches. Iba-iba rin sila lahat. Pero silang similarities. Pero malaki rin yung dinadala nila sa kanya-kanyang team. So both, how do you say, challenging. Kasi iba-iba sila papakisamahan mo So it's all yung papakisamahan mo yung ugali, pakikisamahan mo yung sistema. Kasi bago lahat yung palagi sa'yo So it's challenging, but at the same time rewarding kasi natututo ka sa kanila. Lahat ng sikreto mo na ilalabas sila, natututo sa'yo. And it is also for your own growth as a basketball coach. And you also see how their relationship is with each and every player. So my journey, very interesting yung journey ko. So I will try to ilang taon na yun, I will try to limit it in the next few minutes. Yung first Gilas coach was si Coach Raico. Though I was not involved in the Coach Raico era, he was very, palagi ko siya pinakausap pag nakikita ko sa Araneta. And then I asked if I can attend one of his practices, and he obliged naman na pwede naman ako mag-attend. So nung pumunta ako sa Loyola pa noon, sa atin na yun, Loyola, gabi practice sila, dito 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Medyo late ako ng konti, pero nung pagdating ko, nagpa-practice na sila. Ang bilis. Unang-unang ginagawa nila is ground skills, kung ano man drill yun, tuloy-tuloy. Tapos yung beats na sa kabila, tuloy-tuloy. I presume that they were already doing some warm-up drills before that. So tuloy-tuloy, very systematic yung pag-drill niya. So nanonood, very interesting. Bago ito Kasi tayo, syempre, mamaya, iba yung iba yung Coach Raico. So, kasi iba yung nakasanayan natin, di ba? Sila meron separate, big, small. So ang tagal, noon time na yun, So ang tagal, siguro mga 30 minutes, puro ganun, 30 minutes. Sabi ko, tagal nito, di ba napapagod yung player nito? Di ba nagsasawa? Pero hindi, drill sergeant siya Hindi, paulit-ulit. Wala naman drill yan, nagpapalit-palit siya ng drill. Pero alam nila na pag sinabi ni Coach Raico, ganito, boom! Ang bilis na ng galawan. Pero tuloy-tuloy, 30 minutos, inorasan ko Tapos, tapos na, pipito na siya, or kung anong gagawin niya, papahinto na. Next day na naman, iba na naman, yung naman sila, defensive drills naman sila, nakita ko. So, kung ano naman pinapractice si Coach Raico on the defensive end, tuloy-tuloy na naman yun, mga 30 minutos. Diba? Kasi mga 30 minutes. Sabi ko, tagal naman ito. Pero talaga, hard mag-practice yung player, tsaka tuloy-tuloy, very systematic at saka structured, puro pa ganun, paulit-ulit. Tapos na.
offense naman, puro 5-0, paulit-ulit. Sabi ko, di ba nagsasawa yung player na to? Dalawang side, puro pare-pareho yung ginagawa. Play 1, play 2, play 3. Ulit na naman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 na naman. So, gano'n na naman. So, di 1 hour 30 minutes na ako nandun, ano? Ako, grabe yung practice na to, ah. Tapos, nag-5-on-5 na siya. Sandali-sandali lang yung 5-on-5 niya. Mga ilang balikan yan. So, 2 oras, a little less than 2 hours, boom, tapos yung practice. So, okay. Nag-usap kami ng konti, Coach, why is your practice like this? Because I want it to be routinary, structured, and everybody knows what to do. Sabi ng ganun. Because sa game, ayoko yung masyadong nawawala. So anyway, okay, Coach. Tapos, I think may game sila sa susunod na araw. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, guest team natin sa PBA noon or something, I'm not very sure, I don't remember the dates. Pero nung nanood ko nung first time sila maglalaro, hindi nakita. Kung ano yung pin-practice sila, yun yung tinatakbo nila. Sabi ko, grabe ito ah, parang pinasa mo lang doon, parang nag-copy-paste ka lang, copy-paste, tapos nilagay mo. Pag anong-ganon lang sila, maski na anong mangyari. Maski made basket, automatic, yan parang automatic na sa kanila. So, siya yung nagbigay ng parang siya yung nagbigay ng unang-unang discipline, structure lang. Kasi kay Coach Ron, diba, there's some freedom, there was structure in a freedom environment. Motion open siya, paikot-ikot. Pero ito hindi, ito lang ang gagawin natin. Na nakita ko, no? Ito lang gagawin natin, paulit-ulit, magiging perfect tayo sa ganitong structure. Kasi alam mo na yung galaw eh. Walang lilihis sa galaw. Kung dito ka pupunta, dapat dito ka pumunta. Huwag kang pumunta ron kasi maliligaw yung isang pupunta dapat doon. Yun yung in-introduce ni, sa opinion ko, no? Yun ang in-introduce ni Coach Raikov sa Gilas environment, yung unang Gilas 1. Long-term planning, structured, discipline type of game. Pati yung depensa, pinag-uusapan namin kanina, iisa yung depensa niya, pero perfect na yung depensa yun. Ang drawback lang doon is medyo maliit ang adjustment. Ang gusto niya, yung international game, is you be good at one thing. I-expert na natin yung sarili natin sa ganito. At mananalo at matatalo tayo sa ganito. That is how disciplined and structured Coach Raiko is, based on the practice na nakita ko, at saka nakalaban din namin si Coach Raiko doon sa nung guest team sila. We played them, I think, in the semis. You know, ang hirap eh. Maski lang alam mong parating yung gagawin niya, ang hirap din hintuin sa bilis ng galaw ng player. Yun yung pinasok niya dito sa Gilas. And of course, some of the teams also medyo nag-adapt din sa ganun klaseng. Because that is a Serbian European style, which is the way international teams play. So natuto rin tayo kay Coach Wright. The player movement, ball movement, and screening game. Ang hirap depensa nun kasi tuloy-tuloy. The second coach was yun nga si Coach Shot Reyes. I was under Coach Reyes for a very long period of time. So yung pinakamahabang 10-year coach na sa Gilas na naging assistant ako. Iba naman yung dinala ni Coach Chot. He brought in introduced the Filipino identity na style of game, which is the fast-paced, fearless, and passionate. Yung love sa Pilipinas, yun yung lumalabas na style of play na in-introduce ni Coach Chot. The passion, he introduced the dribble drive offense, wherein ang tingin niya noon is if we do the screening game, ang gagawin lang ng international is to switch all the screening games, which we will lose advantage. Ang pinocus niya was we will use our quickness. Yes, we do not have size, but we will use our quickness to take advantage of our quickness because maski na anong gawin natin, at that time, maski na gano'ng kalaking player ang ilagay natin, wala rin tayong advantage kasi malalaki rin, mas malalaki sila. So let us take advantage of our quickness and surround our quick point guards with our shooters. And of course, get an import that will play the 5 spot. Ganun lang naman yan, di ba? Which it became either Marcus or si Andre. Which Andre fit perfectly to the type of system na tinakbo ni Coach Chot. Yun. Eventually yan, maganda yung World 2013, alam natin, nanalo sa Korea, and then sa World, maganda yung pakita ni Coach Chot and yung Gilas Pilipinas at that time. Of course, syempre na-surprise din naman yung mga international game because it is that type of dribble game is new to them. So there's always the surprise factor. So ganun yung inintroduce ni Coach Chot. He was not a structured disciplinarian or nakagaya ni Coach Rico. He gives more freedom, pero he expects responsibility from the player naman. Bibigyan ko kayo ng freedom. For example, ang practice ni Coach Chot hindi gaano kahaba. It's like 1 hour, 30 minutes. Pero, kailangan, if you need extra work to get in shape, to hone your skills individually, kailangan professional kayo. Na before practice or after practice, yun ang trabahuin ninyo. Alright? So, very maiksi ang team yung practice ni Coach Chot. Pero very intense. Effort is number 1 kay Coach Chot. Pero, the freedom, alam naman yung dribble drive is freedom, di ba? Pero, kailangan may responsibilidad din kayo. Hindi ako masyadong stricto. Pero, be professional and be responsible. Like for example, ang sabi nga niya palagi is, in his mind, you know, his philosophy is, yes, we may fall short in some talent, di ba? We may fall short in talent, but we will not fall short in effort. Yun ang prinsipyo niya palagi. Every time. Basta, kung matatalo tayo, huwag tayo matatalo sa effort. So, yun ang na-instill na sa mga player. Talo, panalo, basta binigay nyo na lahat ng gusto mo. Sa practice, at lalo na sa laro. So, yun ang dinala ni Coach Chot sa Gilas as a leader. The third one was si Coach Tab naman. You know? Si Coach Tab naman, ang pinasok naman niya is global approach, just like si Raiko. Very similar sila in terms of structure, discipline, very detailed naman si Coach Tab. At saka ma-viewing si Coach Tab. Ma-viewing siya. Ang hirap ng viewing ni Coach Tab. Sa lahat ng coach na pinagdaanan ko, yun ang pinakamahirap na viewing. Ang haba ni Coach Tab. Maraming defensive scheme. Maraming defensive scheme. Puro defense. Pareho lang sila ni Coach Raiko. Ang adjustment ko kay Coach Tab, kasi si Coach Chot yun, bigyan ng freedom, ganyan. Ito kay Coach Tab na very, I keep repeating, detailed and structured. Dekahon, yan. So nandun siya. Saka drill sergeant yan, minsan papahirapan ka. Minsan gusto niya yung, lalo na sa college team niya, gusto niya yung pinahihirapan ba? Kasi ang laro hindi dali. Alam ni Coach Joyan, ang laro hindi madali. So pahihirapan ka talaga sa practice. Kaya yung viewing, 3 oras, 2 oras. Tapos practice pa no? Tapos hirap ng practice yan. Matagal ang practice yan. Talagang lahat ng detalye kailangan practicein natin. He shaped, in my opinion, he shaped the team to be a thinking team. That's how he wanted his teams to be. Alam mo lahat yan, the same effort is a given. Given talaga yan. But the identity, yung identity naman ni Coach Tab is more, they want to shape them to be a thinking team. Ang dami lahat ng detalye. Hindi na pinababayaan. And I think that's what Coach Tab left as a leader in the Gilas. He shaped, short lang yung stint ni Coach Tab, pero yes, malaki rin yung mga natutunan ko kay Coach Tab. The the next coach was si Coach Yen, you know. Hindi ako nakasama kay Coach Yen, pag alam naman natin kung ano yung gustong style ni Coach Yen ng laro. Filipino style din, more grit, diba? More grit, how do you say ba? More grit, intensity, pero simple lang naman si Coach Yen. Yun ang kinaiba naman ni Coach Yen sa mga ibang coaches. Mas simple ang sistema ni Coach Yen. Simple yung depensa niya, simple yung opensa niya, pero ang gusto niya is yun nga, the introduction of grit. Maski na natatalo ka, kailangan fight tayo. Yun ang gusto niya palagi. You can see naman in his teams, di ba? Maski medyo bara-bara, pero walang bumibigay. So, very simple lang. Konting depensa, how do you say, gawa nyo ng paraan, more on, maybe you can say ad-lib, or you know, parang ganon, parang ad-lib style yung kay Coach. They give you the idea, bibigyan kita ng idea, kailangan ganito gawin natin, even the play, simple, and then, yun lang yung, I think, kasi I was not involved with Coach Yen, ganun ang style na naiwan ni Coach Yen dito sa Gilas. And the last one is, of course, everybody knows Coach Tim now up to the present. Iba naman si Coach Tim, more poise, more tempo, medyo relax ang tempo. Yes, bibilis, relax ang tempo, more structured sa offense, di ba? Alam natin, triangle, more structured. Of course, now he's giving a little bit of freedom. He also emphasized on fundamentals. Fundamental. So every day in practice, ang inuumpisa namin is all fundamental. He wants also, so ang practice namin is more tempo-oriented. Yung hindi akit baba ang tempo kasi may mga practice na boom, 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 boom. Yan, kay Coach Raiko, ganon. I'm not sure about Coach Shen. Kay Coach Tab, konting ganon. Boom, 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 talagang full speed ahead. Parang ganon. Kay Coach Tim, medyo lilo na content. He wants to dictate the tempo of the game. Yun. Minsan po tumatakbo, pero wala siyang press, walang tempo lang, tempo. That's why very systematic yung kay Coach Tim. That's why when we start practices ni Coach Tim, there is always one drill that he will do every day, every single day. Meron siyang drill na pinagagawa, and that dictates the, how do you say, the environment of practice. Yan, ganon. Yan, bagal, ganon. Tapos papalik. Kung ano man yun, whether it is defense, whether it is warm-up, mga slide, that's what dictates the practice. Different coaches, different philosophies, different visions, maski na iba-ibang dinala ng each leader sa each Gilas team. Iisa lang naman yung mission ng lahat nila. The mission will never change. Even if the philosophy, vision, the identity, the style will change. All the coaches that will coach Gilas, their mission never changes. It is always for the country. Puro laban para sa bayan. So I end my talk with that, and thank you very much.
Yes. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for today, Mr. JP Mercado!
Medyo inconvenience na kasi I'm sure all of you are looking forward to the 5 superstars who are here with us right now. So, I'll make this short, guys. So I prepared the speech actually, but I'm surprised a lot of the speakers here did things extemporaneously. So I'll try to make this as short as possible. Now, 50 years ago, guys, the PBA opened to the public on April 9, 1975. It became the first professional basketball league here in Asia and second actually in the world. Okay, the first one being the United States, which we call the NBA. At that time, the NBA was 29 years old. Of course, there were criticisms that came the PBA's way during the early stages. Kasi sabi nila, kaya raw natayo ang PBA yung mga team owners kasi gusto umiwas ang mga team owners na pahiramin yung mga players nila para sa national team. That was very common back then kasi uso-uso yung pick-up system. So when you say pick-up system, kukuha sila ng players kung sino gusto nila, kung sino yung gusto ng pinili nila ng national team coach, kukuha ng players sa bawat team sa MICA at maglalaro ngayon sa international tournament. Eh kung kasalukuyan yung MICA na yun ay nasa playoffs, then all of a sudden mawawala si Atoy Ko, si Sadi Chubersky, si Yoyong Martirez, eh nasa finals yung kalaban, nasa finals sila, eh di pilay sila. Okay? So, the BAC was the primary governing body of the Philippine basketball that time, when they were also responsible for the formation of our national teams. And we all know that the MICA has become the home of the best basketball players in the Philippines during the pre-PBA period. But back then, the MICA had their differences. So like he spoke about that already, no? Eventually, as it turned out, the BAC wasn't able to design a program that would be mutually beneficial to all. The request back then was simple. Sabi ng team owners ng MICA, uy, gumawa naman kayo ng programa para hindi mapila yung mga players, yung teams namin kapag sila ay maglalaro sa national team. But apparently, I think we all know that the BAC wasn't able to design such a program. 9 teams or 9 franchises in the PBA started the league, and they all trace their roots back from the MICA. Crispa, Toyota, Utex, Royal True Orange, or San Miguel in the MICA, Tanduay or Eco in the MICA, Presto or CFC in the MICA, Mario Salon, Take, 7-Up, and Carrier or CIC or Concepcion in the MICA played in the 1974 MICA, a year before the PBA came about. Only 2 teams from that 1974 MICA season did not join the PBA. Alam niyo yun? The first one is ER Squib, and the other one is Manila Bank. Bakit Manila Bank? Kasi ang may-ari ng Manila Bank ay Puyat family. Si Dito Puyat po ang presidente ng BAP noong time na yun. So hindi siya makasali sa MICA. Sa PBA pala. The PBA opened to the public in the middle of a week. It was a national holiday. April 9, Miyerkules po yan. Okay, Maliwasab beating Concepcion and Toyota nosing out Utex. More than 18,000 fans came over to the Araneta Coliseum to watch the opening games. It could be of interest that even if the teams and the personalities were the same as in the MICA, the fans still came in droves on opening night to witness Asia's first play-for-play league. Doon sa basketball podcast po namin na An Eternity of Basketball, we often ask our guests na PBA pioneers, ano ba kaibahan ng sweldo nung nasa MICA kayo tapos nung PBA kayo? Ano yung sagot? Ang sagot is, practically all of them received a higher compensation package after earning throwdown. True enough, they were then professionals already earning salaries, unlike as explained to us by attorney earlier, no? It was called allowances. Yet, despite the heat, it was evident that the heated competition among all teams didn't cool off when the money became bigger. Quite interestingly, the games became more physical, the rivalries were more pronounced. No rivalry was more heated than that of Crispa and Toyota. While the seeds were planted in 1973 when Toyota joined the MICA, the hostilities were fully blown in the PBA. Imagine nyo lang trivia lang guys, no? In the first 6 conferences of the PBA from 1975 to 1976, ang nag-champion either Crispa or Toyota. First 6 conferences yan. And from 1975 to 1978, in the first 10 conferences, my bad. Crispa Toyota, first 6 conferences, sila lang ang naglaban sa finals. The first 10 conferences, Crispa Toyota lang nananalo ng championships. Doon sa 11th conference na nanalo ang Utex. Okay? Ay isa pang trivia. And to underscore the dominance of these two rivals that won 22 of the league's first 29 conferences until they disbanded, a Crispa or Toyota team was in the finals in 27 of the first 28 conference titles that were disputed from 75 to 84. Isang beses na po nangyari mula 75 to 84 na walang Crispa at saka Toyota sa finals. Kailan yon? Second conference ng 1984 All-Filipino when Beerhausen faced Great Taste Coffee. Nanalo po ang Great Taste doon. It comes as no surprise as such that the biggest superstars came from these two rival camps. Names of Atoy Go, Philip Cesar, Box Adornado, Freddy Ubalde, Bernie Fabiosa, Abek Idaben of Crispa, Sonny Jaworski, Ramon Fernandez, Francis Arnaiz, Big Boy Reynoso, Ongtong Segura, and the 1976 first and only PBA Rookie of the Year, Gil Cortez, were the big names, and they resonated themselves to the fans like bees to pollen. There were also big names among from other teams sa Pioneer Year, Marte Samson, Joy Cleopas, Tanduay, June Papa, Jesse Soriano, Mariwasa, Meng, Jimmy Mariano, Carrier, Soy Estrada, Manny Paner, Yoyo Martinez, Royal True Orange. But fans understood that Crispa and Toyota secured services of the best players available. As such, tingnan niyo sila na yung dominant, Crispa Toyota. Ang unang Rookie of the Year pa, nakuha pa ng Toyota. Just to give you an idea, gano'n kaseryoso yung Crispa at Toyota pagkuha ng mga players. Sila pa yung nauuna sa pagalingan ng mga pagkuha ng the rookies. The Crispa-Toyota rivalry pretty much summed up what the PBA first decade was all about. So when these two teams, or these two titans, disbanded in 1983 and 1984 amidst the economic recession that the country was experiencing, many speculated that the PBA was at its dying stage. Okay? By then, from 9 teams, 6 na lang po ang teams sa PBA. Pero, may magic nangyari. Deputy Commissioner Tommy Manotoc came into the picture. Sino si Tommy Manotoc? Aside from the fact that we all know that he is the presidential son-in-law of the dictator, we also know that he was a Grand Slam coach of Crispa in 1983. Nag-resign siya sa Crispa in 1984 first conference because of a stomach problem, and then after that, he was taken in as a deputy commissioner. Many were saying that he was really the brains behind everything that happened with Commissioner Mariano Yenko only as a figurehead. The league found a way to survive. Manotoc emphasized on balanced competition. I will repeat that, guys, though, just to give you an idea. Tommy Manotoc emphasized on balanced competition, which meant that the wealth should be spread to all the teams. Trivia. 3-time MVP Box Adornado, in an interview with AEOB, revealed this biggest secret, that has been kept for more than 38 years. Alam niyo ba yun? Nasa PBA office si Box Adornado. Pipirma na siya ng kontrata para paglaro ni Jaworski sa Ginebra. Si Jaworski ang kaka-appoint pa ng as playing coach ng Ginebra. Andun na, hawak na ni Box yung ballpen. Andiyan na yung kontrata ng Ginebra sa harapan niya. Biglang may tumawag. Huwag niyo pa pirmahin yan. Hindi pa nag-utos nun. Okay? Ang nangyari, hindi pumirma, hindi nakapirma si Box sa Ginebra. Can you imagine, guys, Adornado and Jaworski in one team? Diba? Hard to imagine, no? Pero never happened, unfortunately. Okay. Manotoc also instituted the league's first protected list rule. Ano yun? May 4 na malalaking player. Dati kasi, kapag may set pa, lamang ka. Si Gil Cortez, 4 nilalaro niya, 6'4 yan, nag-acting center pa yan. kapag meron kang magaling na sentro, malamang contender ka. Noong time ng 1985, 4 ang pinakamagaling na sentro noon. Philip Cesar, Ramon Fernandez, Ate Ilaben, Manny Victorino. Anong sabi ni Tommy Manotoc? Pag hiwalayin niya mga players na yan, hindi pwede magsama yan. No, Cesar and Ilaben were together in Chris pa for 10 years. Okay? So, ano nangyari? Ni isa sa kanila, pwede sa isang team. Nung 2 years after, maaaring itataka kayo, sandali, hindi si Cesar yan, alam ko si Benjamin. Hindi po. Ang totoo po, at hindi nyo po mababasa sa history books yan, 1985, ang original protected list si Philip Cesar. Noong 1987 na lang po, ni-revise si protected list at ginawa si Yoyoy Benjamin ipalit Philip Cesar. So the first protected list was actually with Cesar around. Okay. Now, so yun, ang nangyari, Fernandez went to Beerhausen and later that's why, while Ilaben, Wilton Boy, later Manila Beer, alam naman natin naging trade nila, no? Victorino, Mandrake takes slot, while Cesar held the fort for Shell. 2 years after, the list was tweaked, where Hills, Roberts, Yoyoy, Benjamin replaced Cesar. Okay. Noong 1986 to 1992, after EDSA, okay, ano nangyari sa PBA? Dati, Chris Toyota na nananalo, di ba? 27 to 28 conferences, lagi na doon ang Chris Toyota, di ba? O eto, imagine ninyo. 1986 to 1992, 8 PBA team ang nag-champion. Okay? Now, if you don't call that balance or parity, I don't know what you would call that. The deep parity was highly appreciated by fans as the post-competition made it difficult to guess which team will win. For the first time, manonood ka sa Araneta, hindi mo alam kung sino mananalo. Dati, pag maglaban ang UTEX versus 7-Up, ibusta mo na si UTEX. Walang kakasa si 7-Up. Pagkalaban ng Crispo, for example, si CFC, huwag ka nang umasa, Crispo will win. No? Lista mo na sa akin yan. Okay, so ngayon, maglaban ng San Miguel at Añejo, hindi mo mahuhulahan yan. Coach Johnny Pa was the coach of Formula Shell in 1986. And nobody can guess if anybody can beat Shell at that time, despite the fact that it was only a 2-year-old team. Okay. Fans went to the Ultra in droves and millions more watching the games on live television. It's safe to say that the league's highest level of... I'll go out on the limb, guys, no? It's safe to say that the league's highest level of popularity happened from 1986 to 1995. That was the most popular period of the PBA, bar none. Okay. This came even at a time when there were more entertainment platforms that fans can avail of. Nag-reopen ng ABS-CBN. 97. The lucrative world of movie production, Legal Babies, Viva Dramas, and Seikos, if it must be from them, it must be good. The advent of cable television, the NBA games now being aired live on almost daily basis, the increasing popularity of the PABL among many others, which explains why knowledgeable fans believe that the key to achieving success is establishing parity. That was proven before. It can still be proven today. While Crispo and Toyota may be the biggest Philippine rivalry in sports, the league became even bigger after they disbanded. Okay? No team was an absolute odds-on favorite. Quite interesting though, the death of the Crispo-Toyota rivalry created another rivalry. Ito, mas maganda to. Kasi hindi na team-based, personality-based na. Bakit? Sino na mag-aaway? Siyempre, the two biggest names in Philippine basketball, Sonny Jaworski and Ramon Fernandez. Hindi nilang alam kung gaano yung pakiramdam pag mag-aaway kung paano maglaro yung dalawa. No? Pero ibang klase talaga. Mainit talaga. Okay? Maaaring pa sila yung nagtitirahan dalawa, pero may inuutusan niya na ikaw tumira dito. Ayan. The two larger-than-life figures, once buddies and partners in Toyota's 9 championships, became enemies that spilled over to the basketball court. The respective teams, believe it or not, they never intertwined. Their pure roots became rivals themselves, principally because of these two superstars. The drama was bigger than any telenovela that time, and fans loved it. The drama also intensified further when the two found themselves playing for the same team coached by Baby Dalupan, paradoxically the chief architect of the rival Christmas success in the 1989 All-Star Game. Si Kuya Benji po ay andun po sa game na yon. Kalaban po ni Jewers at ni Fernandez doon sa rookie sophomores versus veterans. Okay. How significant was that event? Ano yung sinasabi natin? Yung formal passing of the torch. Bigyan niyo po kayo ng idea. 1975 to 1988, 14 seasons. Lahat ng MVP winners doon, except one, were PBA pioneers. 75 to 88, except 1983, were PBA pioneers. Sino 85? Sino 85? Ricardo Brown from the Ron Jacobs program. Okay? So ano yung sabihin nun? Ayaw pumayag ng mga matatanda. Hindi kami papayag na kami ay papalitan mga bata. Yan, sila Benji, sila Papa Bear. Diba? Hindi yung papayag. Ganyan. So ayaw pakawalan. 1989 was, that's the reason why iba yung significance ng 89 All-Star Game. Akala ng tao, significant yung 89 All-Star Game kasi it was the first to be held formally by the PBA, and second because nagkapati si Jewers si Fernandez. No, there was a bigger significance there. Ano yun? Yun ay parang the last stand ng veterans before they finally turn things over. Why? That's in the year 1989. Benji Paras became the first rookie MVP. Tingnan niyo kung gaano ka-significant yun. Rookie winning the MVP, taking over the slot of the veterans. No PBA pioneer won an MVP award after. Okay? So yun yung ano doon, ha? That was a significant event back then. You can't get any bigger drama than that, of course. Jaworski was the last of the pioneer group to leave the PBA, playing his last game in 1997 before running for the Senate. Meantime, the Young Turks have become superstars who were dominating the league. Paras, who won the MVP award once more in 99, four-time MVP Cap Patrimonio, Jolas, Alan Caidic, Sam Boydic, Johnny Aparientos, Rafael Meneses, Kenneth Lorendes, Jerry Codinero, Ronnie Gonzalo, became the faces of the league, ushering in a new set of fans. Okay. Including young female koleadas. Ako, kaya si Ben Season nung pumasok dyan, ako hindi mo alam kung gaano kalakas ang sigawan at pilihan ng mga fans. Okay, new set of fans, guys, talaga lumabas. And teenage boys mimicking the power moves of Cap. The shot blocking of the Tower of Power. The shooting hands of the Triggerman. The cerebral ways of the Director. The flying A at the Point Laureate. And the acrobatic moves of the Aerial Voyager, Captain Magbel, and the Bull. Then, sige, isa pa. We also saw the rise of the most talented and intelligent coaches around. Coach John Wichico earlier, and I was telling him this. The return of Ron Jacobs, Tim Cone, Yen Giao, Shot Reyes, Derek Pumare, John Wichico, Perry Ronquillo. These coaching geniuses brought added color to the game that became more scientific and less freewheeling, more calculated and less instinctive, more sophisticated and less gut feel. Interestingly enough, ito maganda. Kung Reyes, Giao, and Wichico remain as head coaches in the PBA more than 3 decades since they reached their initial success. And they remain to be at the top of their game, the best in the league. The new millennium brought about initial setbacks that hurt the league significantly. The Phil Champ issue is something the league experienced difficulty recovering from, when non-Filipinos with fake documents were allowed to suit up for various teams without the proper due diligence. Of course, nagkaroon tayo ng problema, drugs issue. Big names were named as alleged users. Found the league being investigated by the Senate themselves. Or the senators themselves, rather. The fiasco never really had a clear ending, and it did take a direct hit on the PBA's gut. The 2002 Asian Games debacle also in Busan had a nasty impact in the box office. But somehow the PBA survived. New faces came into the picture. James Yap, Mark Kadiwa, JJ Helterbrand, Mike Cortez, Jim Elapag, Matt Cardona, Willie Miller, Danny Ai, among others, bringing in a new exciting style. Likewise, rules were changed to avoid the low-scoring games of the late 90s by encouraging players to do more running and scoring, giving more latitude to the offensive players. Alam niyo ba, ng 1990s, magkalaban ang San Miguel, I never forgot Santa Lucia yata, ang final score, 54-48. It was not, that's the lowest scoring game ever between two teams. No? So, pero, sorry for the word, sorry, superstars na but yeah, it could be very boring. No, but I remember, that was a philosophy of Ron Jacobs. Hindi magagaling mga players si Coach Ron, si Nelson na sa itono lang siya maasa, hindi naman po pwede Ang ginawa niya, bagalan mo yung opensa. The less offensive opportunities yung kalaban, the less points they can create. So laban na tayo sa depensa. That was the reason why the scores were so low. Eventually, the PBA relaxed its rules a bit, allowing more latitude for the offensive players. Okay. There was also a major shift, no? It also helped that the PBA celebrated its glorious past as then Commissioner Noli Ayala authored the Prispa Toyota reunion game in 2003. Perhaps the biggest event to happen that decade. Okay? Won by Toyota 65-61. He never remained to be the darlings of the crowd, but there was also a significant chunk of fans that supported the likes of Pure Foods, San Miguel, Alaska, and Red Bull. There was also a major shift in international commitments with Ayala in 2004 to tweak the previous free conference format to give way to FIFA sanctioned tournaments. Okay, so the inevitable was about to happen though, and it was coming real soon with the power of the internet and social media taking away the attention of the younger fans. The PBA was faced with a different dilemma. Less people were now watching mainstream TV. Okay, resulting therefore in lower advertising revenues. Okay, mas mahirap i-attract ngayon ng PBA ang younger fans kasi sanay naman ng NBA na rin. So nakukompare pa ngayon. Alright, so eventually, the PBA was fortunate to have the more popular teams like Ginebra, San Miguel, and Magnolia belonging to the upper echelon, sustaining their respective fan bases. It seemed like a replication of how the PBA started. Weird, no? Parang umikot lang. Dati, duopoly, ngayon, parang triopoly. Okay? Basta, yung Ginebra, San Miguel, Magnolia, umaasa doon sa rivalries na lang. Okay. But this is it. Hindi ito sustainable with so many uncontrollable variables to consider. In 2015, the PBA named 15 players to become part of the league's 40 greatest list. This would have been a great pitch for the league, but instead of renewing fan interest, it turned off more followers, brought about by the controversial selection of several players. Many fans felt that there were more deserving players that should have been named. Fans wondered, ano ang basis na ginamit ng selection committee? Anong upside? The upside is, may napili na namang 10 players sa 50 greatest list. Sa Miyerkules, this Wednesday, i-announce ng PBA kung sino yung 10 yun. We basically have an idea already, pero hindi pa formal, so we cannot make any announcement. But we're very happy that some players that we wanted to be there will be there. So we're hoping na sana ano yan. I'm hopefully looking at 2 of those players who are with us right now. I'm hoping. Yeah. And we're also pitching for them. By the way, sa AEOB show, we had a show yesterday and we named our top 10. Jeffrey Carriazo and Bong Hawkins were all on our top 10 list of the 4 hosts. So this time we're hoping that we'll celebrate the inclusion of those who were previously snubbed and finally get their due recognition. From a different point of view, the PBA was also losing out in attracting the best amateur talents. The studs from the collegiate leagues were signing contracts in professional leagues based in Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Those leagues were offering high compensation packages. Unfortunately, the teams may not be able to approximate what these international tournaments are giving to our locals. Otherwise, there will only be a handful of teams that can afford in maintaining a PBA franchise. These are just some of the problems that the PBA has to face as we welcome their 50th golden anniversary 11 days from now. But if there's one thing about the league, it's their unmatched resilience to overcome difficult odds that has allowed them to survive. It's imperative, though, that a more creative yet strategic approach be developed to meet the ever-changing expectations of the Filipino basketball fan, for the PBA to keep up with the signs of the times while remaining relevant to the public. Maraming salamat, magandang hapon po.
Thank you so much to Jay Carlo. Meron po kayong mga tanong kay Sir Jay before we go to our final panel discussion. MVP in 1989, Natao Power, Benji Paras. And the three-time PBA champion, part of the members of the Prince Vince Sison. Four-time na pala, sorry. Hindi mo lang isa, dagdagan. Sir Lirio, please proceed. This is our final panel discussion.
Okay, so for this final discussion, my mentor in sports writing will help us in getting the most out of our guests this afternoon. So may I call on Sir Rick Olivares.
Thank you, Doc. Good afternoon, Jeff. Bong, Benji, old friend, and Vince, of course. Before we begin the 90s basketball discussion, mabilis lang na kwento, no? The first time Vince Sison played London Ateneo jersey, Lasalang kalaban. And he scored 44 points. Yeah. Kaso talo. Talo kami. And I remember in the post-game, Zandro Limpotos being interviewed, siya, best player of the league. So sabi nung nag-i-interview, I'm not sure if it was Pat who was interviewed. I don't. Kasi sabi, tinanong kay Jun Limpot, Jun, ano masasabi mo dun sa rookie ng Ateneo, si Vince Sison? Pardon my French, guys. Ito sabi ni Jun Limpot, putang ina, galing. What an intro, Vince.
Should I release that video?
You should, man. Napagalan si Jun, but uy, sorry, on live TV. That was live, man. So, Benji Paras. What has this guy not won? High school pa lang sa Beda, grabe. Diba? He was the only guy we knew who was dunking back then, si Benji. High school pa lang, can you imagine that? No? Tini-triple team yan, pero pagka, dinalab lang sa kanya, tapos the dunk. And he's won everything, diba? As JP mentioned, the only rookie MVP ever. What a season that was for Benji. Diba? So, amazing person, then he transitioned into showbiz and other things, diba? Very interesting fellow. Bong Hawkins, I saw him when he was with UST. Sa UST pa lang, ang tindi pumoste. Diba? Wala makapagbantay kay Bong. Kaya nga nung lumipat siya sa Perpetual, panlungkot ng mga taga-UST. Pero doon, patuloy pa rin niya pinapakita yung low post moves niya. And that guy was very hard to stop. Diba? I always thought that he was like our version of Karl Malone down the post. But once he gets that ball down there, it's hard to stop it. It was almost a sure 2 points. Last but not least, the Jet. It was so unfair as a Ginebra fan that they had Jeffrey Cariaco. Diba? May Jojo Listimosa pa, may Bong Hawkins, may Johnny Aparientos. Sus naman, no? This guy, parang, you know, every shot that he took, it was gonna go in. That was so unfair. You never see him faced on the court, grabbing maglaro yan si Jeff. Diba? It was so unfair. So later on, may left from Coke. Finally. Diba? But, you know, anyway, gentlemen, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. And it's good to have you for this panel discussion. Do you have an extra microphone that we can pass to this? Alam mo, uso ngayon kasi yung kino-compare yung 90s. Lalo na sa NBA. Uso-uso ngayon yung, buti pa nung 90s, di ba? Ganyan, walang foul yan. Pero ngayon, ganyan lang, foul na. Naiisip nyo ba yan? Do you ever think about that discussion? Because does it happen for the PBA? I don't hear that. But for you gentlemen, do you compare your your time in the 90s to today that it's different? Let's hear from you, Jeff.
Do we think about it? I honestly,
As a coach.
yeah, as a coach, honestly, you do, because there is a difference. When I entered in '95, that was the time. I think the start, right, of the, you know, the changing of the guards. So at that point, nabot ako pa sila Alvin, obviously Distrito, right, my best friend. Si Jawa, Coach Jawa, nabot ako pa siya. Playing coach. So yeah, that was a time where, so you still felt how it was, how the game was being called at that time. So now you compare it and it's 30 years later. There is a difference. There is more protection, I think, for the players, and even the players themselves. They're you know, and I'm coaching, and I admit it. They are not as tough as we used to be, and to be for so many reasons. I don't want to try to tackle that, but yeah, totoo yun. Minsan you think about it, and I as a coach, one of my rules is I never bring up when I used to play. Ayoko yung I'm bringing up my comparison. No, ayoko yun. I never do that. But don't doubt that I think about it and I want to say it. Hindi ko rin sinasabi.
Bong, ikaw naman. Lalo na pag pumosok ka, sigurado talagang may mga ganyan-ganyan pa eh, di ba? Pero in spite of that, linchpin ka ng Alaska Dynasty. Ano masasabi mo pag kinumpara mo yung 90s at 90s?
Kasi nung 90s, mayroong talagang unwritten rule nun na no harm, no foul. Di ba? Alam naman lahat yung no harm, no foul. Kaya minsan nga isang game, nga uwi ka, dami mong kalmot, dami mong pasa. Pag tinignan mo, 2 free throws lang yung kung di ko alam kung ngayon ako naglalaro, baka mga 15 free throws. Kaya yun yung era nun, so kailangan mo mag-adjust. Lahat naman yun. Pare-pareho lang naman yung tawag na better sa bawat. Yun nga, medyo, kasi ngayon nga, medyo konting tikit, katawag na. Kaya yung mga offensive player, mas may freedom sila na gawin yung gusto nila. Hindi katulad nung araw kami. Yan, Benji. Kami, bantayan kami magalat. So, mas yun nga, yung physicality yung 90s talagang matindi.
Alam mo, salamat sa na-share mo, no, Bong, no? Bago natin marinig si Benji, hihingi ako ng tawag kay Benji. Dahil nung naglalaro pa siya sa San Pedro. Ito lang trivia. In the many times that Ateneo played a team with Benji Paras, Ateneo only won once. Only once, 88-58. I remember the score, 88-58. But we lost every time when he played to a team with Benji. When he was in San Pedro in high school, they were dominating the game because played in Ateneo. Nag-i-inbound si Benji. Kinandan ko si Benji sa likod, spectator lang ako. Tapos sabi, uy! Parang nakalimot ako yata ng busa. He was insulting me. So Benji, sorry, hindi ko sinasadya. Kasi sobrang galing eh. Grabe ko si Benji. Ano? But Benji, because you were doing things that most centers did not do. Talagang power play, dunk and all that. We had not seen that before. Ano yung, grabe ba? Kwento mo yung physicality nung araw na yun, nung time na yun.
It's a good thing na playing from the NCAA at that time, pag nag-dunk ka, hindi ka pwedeng sumabit sa rin. So it's a good thing sa PBA, pwede ka sumabit. Kasi pag bumagsak ka agad, pilay ka. Nakaganan yung mga nakakabang eh. So, yung isa yun. And second, yung sinasabi na comparing the physicality, actually the physicality, the intensity of the game before and now, basically almost the same. Kaya lang yung penalty coming from the officials, nag-iingat yung mga players. I remember we had a game against Talk and Text, yung import nila si Mills. Silas Mills. Tapos sinampal niya si Jay Mendoza yata. Hindi siya na-thrown out kasi nga open, naka-open. So pag naka-close, yun lang, thrown out. So imagine during that night, technical na lang. So the following day, sabi siya, alam mo siya, so ganun kaiba. At yung sinasabi nga natin na, kung naman nila buong kami, physical, very physical kami, pero that's it. Pero after that, alam mo hindi kami nagtitirahan. Pero there are times kasi na meron. Kaya nga every time nagpapa-x-ray ako, sinasabi ng doktor, matulog ka sa right side. Kasi magkatabi ng kidney mo. Anyway, alam nila Jeff, lalo na yung mga guards, yan yung pinaka-kawawa.
Vince, when you entered, you came from Pure Foods, Pure Foods Calgary, and like, dalawa kayo, pinakawala ng Pure Foods si Olsen, tsaka ikaw, you went on to have a better career with your next team. But, when you joined the Ginebra team, but it wasn't that physical anymore, no? Kasi nandiyan na sila Marlu, well, Noli, si Noli physical, si Noli. Pero what's your take on that, Pali?
Well, I just want to say thank you for inviting me today, and Doc, great job. This is such an amazing day, and really brings back a lot of memories. First and foremost, I just want to say, hats off to everybody who organized this. It brings back memories of the great times that we all had. We had a lot of good times, a lot of fun. Going back to what you're going at is, number one, I don't feel I was ever a quote-unquote dirty player. Jeff might disagree. I'll just give you guys something maybe you don't know. In my first year in Pure Foods, I was trying to get playing time. It's so hard because everything is Alvin and Jerry and Alvin. Who knows the guards, right? So you're really struggling to get some playing time. And I remember I was going so hard. We were in Reyes Gym, and I was really going at it. We had a scrimmage, and I'm going right at Glenn Capascio every single time. Every time I go in, no call. Every time he goes in, there was a foul. I'm like, wait a minute. So it happened once. I was like, okay, ref, foul. Happens again. I go harder this time. Just got my hand taken off. No call. Glenn goes again, foul. Finally, third time, I go in and I literally went right at him. It's got to be a foul. It's got to be either a charge or a block because he's on the ground, I'm on the ground, no call. I get the ball. I was so mad. I kicked the ball. And I don't know if you guys remember Reyes Gym. It has those louvers, but it was the perfect shot. It went straight up and straight out onto Libertad Avenue. And I was a rookie, and Coach Chot said, get the you-know-what out of my gym. So I was kicked out of practice. And I said, fine. So I started walking down the stairs. And I'll never forget, former Commissioner Nervasa came running after me. He goes, Vince, if you don't get up there right now and apologize, your career is over. So I went up there and I said sorry and all that stuff and let bygones. I was kind of like the Poy Aram of my day. Anyways. Poy's my boy. I love Poy. Anyways, I had to get tough. There was no choice. It was either you get tough or you fall by the wayside. So when I got to Ginebra the following year, it wasn't also cakewalk. I tell you right now, guys like Bennett Balad and Noli Loxin, all these guys, Sunny Kabatu, hello, Chito Loizaga. I was a victim of the Chito sandwich. I was right in the middle of that. So again, you really had to learn how to get tougher. And well, there's some things I say, because I'm still doing PBA on TV. I don't always say it, but I'll write it down, and my anchor laughs, and I always write MF, like I'll just write it, and they're thinking, is he cursing? And no, I'm actually thinking in my brain, modern foul, because back in my time, that was not a foul. So that's it, there's a big death.
Thank you for that. No? Very interesting. Their stories, no? But the 90s, I like what you said. Not just in terms of, di ba, RSJ. Yun yung RSJ back then, yung All-Star game na yun, di ba? And si Benji was on the floor during the final play. Yeah, I was there too. But it was also a time when basketball was opening. Benji, you played with the 1990, the first All-Pro team ever in the world sa Asian Games, no? Correct me if I'm wrong, Benj, nung nalampas yata tayo, 75 points. 65 points against China. Naapekto agad ang PBA, no, pagbalik natin. Napansin mo ba yun? Parang nabawasan yung crowd nung una. Ganun ba? Tama ba yung pagkaalala ko, JP? But Benji, anong pagkaalala mo nun?
Actually, hindi ko masyadong natandaan. Basta nung time kasi na yun, bumalik kami, parang we're just happy to be back and to play again the PBA dahil halos 1 month kami ron sa China. And nung latter part of the month, puro canned goods na yung kinakain namin. Kasi sawan-sawa na kami. So, hindi ko naman napansin. And yung sinabi mo nga yung game na natalo kami, nung kalaban namin yung China, nagkaroon kami ng game, the whole time na naglalaro sila, meron silang mga players, na may mga bench players sila, hindi pinapasok. Nung naglaro kami ng finals, yung pala yung mga superstars nila. Tapos yung venue namin nilipat, hindi binuksan yung heater. So imagine that, lahat kami lamig na. So anyway, baka wala lang sanang ma-offend, pero yun lang yung nangyari.
Boss Dito, nasa si Boss Dito? Kasi first all-pro, di ba? Pero alam mo, kahit ganun, nung silver medal naman tayo, we were still proud, but clearly I think times were changing, that we were no longer the top dog in Asia. But ayan, nakita natin, bumabalik ang Pilipinas. Cycles lang naman yan. But speaking of cycles, the old teams, as JP described, in the 80s had fallen by the wayside, except for Ginebra, because they retooled with Vince, Nolly, Marlu, Pido, and Jeff's best friend. Diba? So, but the 90s saw the ascension of Alaska, and of course, sila Benji, no? But Benji, yung year ni, pag-usapan muna natin yung mga laban nga ng Ginebra. May init mga yan eh. Anong masishare mo sa atin dito na hindi alam ng tao?
Yeah, yun yung first na, yung pa yung first or second championship. Nung first kasi nanalo sila, Shell Ginebra. Then yung second time naman, yun nga yung nag-walkout sila. So, pero at that time kasi yung penalty nun is 500,000 lang. So kaya-kaya yung time na yun. Actually, nung time na yun, nung umalis sila, ang dinadasal namin huwag na silang bumalik. Hindi, totoo yun, para matapos na eh. So, anyway, yun lang yun. And then, nagkaroon ng rivalry even sa Battle for Third, kami naglalaban. Hanggang sa naging parang Shell Ginebra nung time na yun. So do not start lahat.
Ano ba magkano na?
Ay, malaki na, million. Parang 5.
Higit na.
Yeah, 5 million.
Pero tama yun, at the time, half a million.
Half a million.
Palit headline yun. Di ba, Jerry? Headline yun, di ba? Half a million.
Sino rin na walkout sa...
Yun na yun, di ba? Ginebra na lang yan. Bumalik ba yung Tokyo?
Bumalik sila, di ba? Bumalik sila.
Fine sila, 2 million.
Mabigat na. Ano na, inflation?
Rain or shine yung umalis na bumalik.
Pinabalik, walang hindi to kaya. Noong time nung Ginebra kasi, sila Boston League bumunot na sa wallet. O 500,000. Time nila MVP, token text nag-walkout. Ganun din si Boss MVP. O 2 million. Kayo Raynor Shines. Kayo balik na.
Kayo balik na.
Konting away na. Balik na. Mga boss natin, mga bike.
Okay, sabi nga naman ni Benji, rivalry, no? Pero yung matinding rivalry ng 90s, ginawa nga ng Taligari Granada, was Alaska. And hindi ako pinapatulog ni Jeff tsaka ni Bong, nakakainis. Diba? Hindi ako makatulog pag talo nun, talagang bad trip ako ng the next day. To talk about that rivalry, no? I remember when Tim came off the broadcast booth, and when he was first covering, we were like, what's this guy doing? He's a joke. And I remember he would splice those games of the balls and put them together. But my God, they became champions, the Grand Slam winners and all that. Pag-usapan natin yung, alam niyo ba, you had a good team back then? Kasi parang si Jonas lang yata yung mabigat kasi galing siyang Pure Foods, no? But Jeff, you came in with what? No expectations whatsoever? Bong, well, si Bong may pangalan eh. Galing talaga yan eh. Pero pag-usapan natin yung dynasty nyo at yung Bong, ikaw muna, tsaka Jeff. Go ahead.
Alaska, talk about Alaska.
Yung rivalry.
Oo, tsaka yung rivalry.
Actually, ang ka-rival talaga ng Alaska, hindi lang sa basketball, pati sa business, is Presto. Presto versus Alaska. Tuwing maglalaban yun, nung nasa Presto pa ako, double bonus kami palagi. Ganun din yung Alaska.
Great taste din yan.
Great taste. No, Presto, great taste. Yun yung talagang rival, talagang magkagalit. May isang game pa nga na natandaan ko, panalo na kami. Si Mr. Kotaw, nasa likod siya ng bells. Panalo na kami, lamang na kami ng 12 points yata. Ilang seconds na lang. Kinalabit niya si Coach Jimmy. Time out na, time out. Nagwala si team ko. Jimmy. So talagang nag-iinis, tapos sigo. Gaganon-ganon siya doon sa tabi. So talagang, sobrang, kaya pag naglalaban, talagang okay naman sa mga players dahil double bonus automatic. So nung lipat na ako sa Alaska, wala nang Presto.
So talagang personalan din, no? Pati yung corporate rival, personalan.
Personalan yung Presto at saka Alaska nun. So after nung wala na yung Presto, wala nang double yung Alaska. Wala na. Tapos ang una naman namin yung rival is before Ginebra, yung Sankist, yung Isla Berhel, di ba? Malakas din yun. Nelson, Saldi, Rialupit, Rudy, best friend mo. Tapos lately, yung Ginebra, nung dumating na nga si Vince, Marlo, Nolly, ayun ang lakas na nila. So, yun talaga, grabe, yung mga fans ng Alaska, pati yung mga relatives namin, nagbabaw ng payong sa loob ng court dahil mula ng piso. So, isang beses tinamaan pa si Coach Arik sa ulo, dudugo yung ulo. So yun lang naalala ko.
Jeff, your memories of that?
Yeah, gosh, when I came in '95, it was already established na, Jojo was there, Bong was there. Kailan ka dumating, Bong? 93. And then Johnny was 93 also. One of the stories I remember na paulit-ulit sinasabi ni Coach Tim was, it used to be Jojo and the 11 Little Indians. And that's how we described this Alaska team. So everything was Jojo. So when Bong came in and then Johnny came in, and then in '94 draft we drafted Coach Minyo, and then I came in '95. So even then, no. So you're not together for a long time. You've been, we do have our superstars, but at that point you don't know how good you are. But one thing I remember that's clear that one thing I try to implement to my team now is just the enjoyment of coming to practice every day. So that's something, iba yun. And that's one thing I think most teams that contend or win championships, yun yung madalas nila sabihin, it's just the everyday practice, happy sila, masaya, ulitan ng practice, all that all comes into play. So you don't really think about the winning part, It's obviously your goal. That's why you practice, you work hard. I think everyone in the panel has experienced that. Some of the greatest memories when you talk about your former teams and your happiest moments, I would say most of us will mention trips in the bus, kulitan yung nasa locker room, when you're driving somewhere to go play. Things like that, or when you're eating out, yun yung mga kwento. Yes, you remember the big games. Yeah, we won the championship, but more of the stories are just the part that you're together with your teammates, camaraderie, and that's really special. At that point, I think that's something that we've established early. Guys got along. We were happy to be there, and we were all, willing to compete, and I think that's what happened.
Thank you, Jeff. May magandang na-mention si Bong earlier about don't know if it's pressure or...
Pieces were being put together. Si Bal, si Marlu, si Noli was already there, and the other guys were coming in. Bidot was playing well. Everybody was kind of, the pieces of the puzzle were put together pretty well. So again, to beat them was the ultimate, because we felt, you know, right, that they were the top team at that time. So to beat them just was a big mountain to climb, and hopefully get to the top.
Thanks, Vince. Benji, yung sa Shell naman, yung medyo bumaba yung San Miguel, Shell yung naging model team before umangat tong Alaska. Tapos nawala yung Shell, di ba? Nawala. Anong may share mo dun sa time na yon na nagko-compete yun? Coach Joe, then a lot of other coaches later on, nanalo kayo ng championship and all that. Tapos biglang nawala yung Shell. Ano bang
nung time ko kasi, whenever we're playing with, of course, with the late Bobby Parks, kasama na every time na we will play in the finals. Either we win the championship or not, we'll be in the finals with Bobby Parks. And then later on, of course, nawala na si Bobby, and then nag-iba yung team. Big Pablo, Jerry Plana, and Chris Jackson. Sila na yung naging addition sa team namin, and then lumakas. And then we have, that time it was Perry Ronquillo.
Perry.
Diba? Who was handling us at that time. And naging swap. And I think everyone will agree na it's not just you have a good team, pero you need to have a good coach also, diba? Yung coach na talagang, yung magpe-blend lahat. So yun yung time na nangyari na naging okay yung takbo ng team. We won 2 finals in a row, tapos yung third, almost Grand Slam na, we lost to San Miguel. And then after nun, ito na, lumabas na yung mga injuries. Unang-una na ako nun, and then tapos na-trade na si Vic. So doon na bumaba yung Shell nun, and then Perry Ronquillo na yung nag-decide na to migrate in the States.
Wow.
So doon na parang nawala na yung Shell.
Okay, pick up naman tayo. Ask you guys, the toughest player you went up against, yung talagang bumabantay sa'yo, gustong-gusto mong iskoran. You know, let's start with you, Jeff.
Madali lang yun, iiwas lang tayo eh. Iiwas lang. No, honestly, in fairness, there's so many great, I mean, you know, we know naman that our league is a guard league, no? So, so many guards, and you know, Vince is one, Kenneth in my era. Just think of all the 2 guards that are scorers and shooters. Those are the guys that I had the opportunity to defend. No? So lahat sila. From high flyers like Verhel, even sometimes point guards, Jerry Esplana. So many good players that we've defended. But the one guy where I really had the hardest time and I never could figure it out was honestly Bong Alvarez. Bong Alvarez. And the reason is because at that time when we were still playing, he was still strong and still fast. No? So tendencies. So, you know, we're as a coach now, you understand more, but you play and understand the tendency of the player you're guarding. So Bong Alvarez, we knew no matter what, he will attack the basket. No, mas malakas siya driving, attacking the basket. I'm not saying hindi siya shooter, but you give him space. So even if I gave him space, and it could be this much, no, it doesn't matter. He'll still go by me and score. And that was one of my hardest covers. And I always mention Bong Alvarez.
Did Tim give you stick for that?
We did. I tried my best, but yeah, I just relied on the help of Bong and Poch to make sure they were there to support me if he blew by me.
Just the assignment mo, sino kahirap? Kay Benj?
Benji? Oo. Actually, alos lahat eh. Benji, Alvin, Nelson, Noli, halos pare-pareho sila. So, kailangan you have to be ready every day.
Pero meron bang player na, pucha, eto na naman to.
Pero pag gano'n?
Wala naman kasi diba, 8 teams lang naman. So, palagi din naman sila yung mga nakakalaban. So, alam mo. Medyo nahirapan na lang ako nung pagpasok nila Marlo kasi masyado nang malaki. So, pero, yun nga, yung hindi pantayan. Diba? Tennis, Pino, Jun Limbot. Ang daming mga, ano. Kaya, nung panahon yun, kailangan always ready ka. Every day. Every practice para yun nga kasi tough talaga yung era na yun. Lalo na doon sa posisyon ko. Tapos minsan ano rin ako sa mga cards katulad kila Alan, so yung adjustment na naman.
Kaya bumos din noon.
Oo, Perhel. Di ba? Pag gumulong-gulong yun, wala, kung pupunta ng kaliwa. Ganun-ganun na yun. So, yun. Pero yung mahirap syutan, nung mga panahon na yung pagpasok ko sa PBA, yung mga rookie, second year, si Yoyoy. Yoyoy, kasi physical si Yoyoy. Talagang lalo na pagbata ka. Higuerelosa, di ba? Ating teammate po. Tapos si Chris Jackson, yun, magaling dumipensa.
Na-mention mo nga si Ricky Rilosa. Nung rookie ako, laging naka-knee-brace yun. So sabi ko, bigay mo yung bola, kaya ko to. So every time lalayo ako, then da-drive ako. So siguro twice, naka-drive ako, naka-score ako. Then nung dinidepensahan ako, sabi ni Ricky sa akin, shoot mo na lang. So sabi ko, hindi, drive ako ulit. Nung pang-apat, ayun na, in-introduce na ako sa sahig. Ito yun, yan ang sahig. Pag-drive ko, gumanon. Tapos binuhat naman ako, sabi sa akin, sa'yo, shoot mo na lang. Sabi ko, shoot ko na. So, ayaw nila nung napapaya. Nung mga time na yun. Kasi ngayon wala na yun eh. Wala na yung respeto na mga rookie ka, respeto. Wala na yun. Nung araw, parang kailangan you need to show respect yun sa mga veterans. So parang pag wala ako rito, go ahead. Pero pag andito ako, shoot mo na lang, makaka-score ka naman. So yun lang. Pero ang hirap ako talaga is Mon Fernandez. Ang hirap bantayan. So, kaya like yung sinabi ni Jeff kanina, na si Bong pag binigyan mo ng space, yung pag binigyan mo ng space, titira talaga. Pag hindi naman, ang galing pumoste. Tapos may hook shot, kaliwat kanan. So yun yung pinakamahirap. And then yung pag iba naman bumabantay sila Jerry, sila Marlo, sinasuggest ko kay coach na sa offense coach, sa taas ako para walang rebound. Pero technique yun, parang hindi na ako masaktan. So, doon ako sa totoo yun, kaya nilalabas ko talaga.
Well, just like what they said, kailangan respeto. You gotta respect everybody because these guys are not getting to the PBA unless they're good. They're good. They're gonna burn you if you give them the chance. So don't give them the chance. So just like what Jeff said, sometimes you feel you just don't want to be alone on an island, and sometimes you get on that island and you got this guy to deal with. So for me, thinking about it, it's hard to pick one. It really is so hard because every team has somebody. But I kind of got it to 4. Sam Boy, my first year, could not guard him at all. He was so fast, so strong, and those hands of his, I still think it's traveling, but it wasn't. But anyways, he'd go like this, and then like, anyways. Verhel, my goodness. When Verhel's coming at you, good luck, because he is so quick. He can just go either direction. Very, very agile. Johnny, if I ever get on an island with Johnny, and Johnny's coming at me, I'm just praying, because you know how fast he is. He can literally go by you, and then turn around and go back, and then go by you again. He's that quick. And then last, and I hated this too, especially in practice in Pure Foods, Alvin. Because Alvin is, for me, the best as far as reacting. He's the kind of guy, he feels you this side, he goes the opposite. And he doesn't even look, he just feels it. His feel for the game was uncanny. And that's why he was such an amazing player. He never was outsizing guys. He was always undersized compared to other guys. But because he reacted so well, so quick, very, very smart, I'd say he's definitely in my four.
Very interesting. Okay, sa imports naman that either you played with or your team went up against. Let's start with you, Jeff.
You guys help me
Not
out.
from your own team, huh?
No. There's one import from Pure Foods.
Redfield?
No, not Kenny Redfield.
Derek
Anyway.
Yung may color yung buhok?
Hindi, ano siya, he played at the small import Governor's Cup. When I remember his name, I'll tell you.
Mike
but
Jones.
Yung handling niya sa Instagram is God blessings. Anyway, he's one guy that I had a difficult time. Honestly, in the San Miguel series in the finals, I was tasked to try to guard Kenny Travis. Yeah, Eddie Murphy tawag namin ni Bong. Eddie Murphy. Kamukha ni Eddie Murphy. So I tried my best to try to defend him, but like I said, that was one thing I think why, and I figure out where I can help the team, one, and number two, where I can play. So is Coach Tim, let me know who you want me to guard, I'll guard them. So I think that was one of my roles that helped me early in my career defending. But to answer your question, Kenny Travis, and give me a second, I'll think of the one from Pure Foods. Really good player. I know they made the finals. Give me a second.
All right.
Well, it's
Derek Brown.
Derek Brown.
Derek Brown.
2000.
Thanks, Jerry.
2000.
Yeah. Sa yung nakakampi ko, teammate ko, siyempre si Sean Chambers. He's just so hardworking and napakadaling kasama. Napakadaling kasamang teammate. Sa mga nakalaban ko naman, unang-una si Bobby Parks. Grabe talaga. Kahit saktan mo, wala sa kanya. Kahit na, di ba? Overface. Titignan ka na ganyan. Kasi yun na naman, natangihin ka na naman. And then Kenny Redfield. Yun yung muntik kami. Yun yung doon kami muntik di makatlan sa namin. Umabot ng game 7. Kami dalawa ni Jeff nagbabantay. Pero mas madalas ako. Malaki kasi, di ba? Tapos yung import namin nun si Sean. Dahil, di ba, that time na yung original import namin si Hamilton na ban, di ba? So, pumalit si Sean, medyo undersized. Ngayon, tapos yung isa pa is yung si Ronnie Tompkins. He's so strong, man. Sankis. Sinuntok ni Ricky Losa, inabot siya. I remember. So, yun yung...
French ko naman, best import na nakita mo at yung buwisit na import.
Yung mahirap, teammate niya, Sean Chambers. Kasi ang galing pumoste. Actually, I'm taller than him, kaya lang
liksi.
Ang galing. Galing gumamit ng katawan. And then yung sa San Miguel, si Mott.
Turkin.
Mott. Ayun. Yung pag umiikot yun, pag sumabit ka sa braso, parang nakasa ng jeep. Parang nakasapit ka. Ganun kalakas. Ang hirap. Kami ni Chris Jackson nagpapalitan.
Okay. Vince, imports. Then we'll have one last question.
For me, talaga the Hurricane.
Tony Harris.
When he's coming at you, you're like, uh-oh. Here it comes. He could do everything. And he's not just athletic, he could get to the basket. He could shoot. So you can't just back off. He could shoot. So,
Best friend DNA, di Benny Chen.
Siyang export. He's our export.
Okay, this is the last question for you, Jet. In your mind.
Logo. Good night.
Who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT, dude? Come on, Vince.
Well, I'm gonna say Jaworski always. The logo. Not just because of how he played. His longevity, the way he played is one thing, obviously, but for me, as like a father figure, I mean, he really took us all under his wing. And I know Benji. First time I played against Benji, by the way, was at a Ginebra practice. That was the year he said, "I want to play for Ginebra," right? And he blocked my shot. I still don't know how he did it from like way far behind. I don't know if you remember that. It's the Acropolis. Anyways, I'm still shell-shocked. But si Jaworski, I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the things that he used to do, and it really got it, you know, into us really deep, was he would always say, "Hey, anong gagawin mo mamaya?" "Nothing, sir. Let's have dinner." So we think it's gonna be dinner with like the family or whatever. Hindi, I get to the place, it's just me and him. And he's asking me a question. "Oh, how's your family? How's everything? How's your finances? How are you spending your money? Anything bothering you?" And then he starts asking stuff about the team. "What do you think we should do with the team? How do you think we should, you know, how can we improve?" In other words, I'm thinking to myself, this is a logo. This is a guy who's got everything, and he's taking the time to take me individually, spend this time when he could be doing something else. And then I found out he does this with all the players. He really takes the time to get to know each and every one of the players. And that's why we always said, it was just natural for us. He took the time to do that for us. So it was just natural for us. If he asked for anything, let's go. We're gonna go to war. Anything you say, Coach. So for me, that's the goal.
Thank you. What a very, very
that we considered as the greatest player. That's correct.
Yes.
40.
Yes.
So, kumbaga, that's our Hall of Fame. No? So within that 40, I don't think there's a question on who is, you know, the most popular, who started this league and make it, you know, the league that it is now. No, his name is still brought up, I'm sure, often. Media, players, you know, his never say die mantra is still what they talk about now. No, so and I know to a certain extent there's always a conversation for new players that play for Ginebra that they don't forget, or it's discussed that, you know, Jaworski was the guy who really brought this feeling and way of playing. But yeah, I can't disagree with anyone here. It has to be him, because I think in reality he's one person who, when you think about the PBA, he's the one you think about. So plain and simple.
All right, so with Jeff's answer that closes the 90s basketball panel. I tell you, we could go on because there's so much, but we only have enough time. Round of applause for these gentlemen.